The Pope just proposed a universal basic income.
Here's a summary of the article.
He repeated familiar refrains about the idolatry of money and ecological conversion. But he also allowed himself to offer a single policy proposal that movements might work toward. This may be the time, he said, to consider a universal basic wage. This points unmistakably to what is usually known as universal basic income, a regular, substantial cash payment to people just for being alive. Why is the head of the Roman Catholic Church advocating a little tested, still radical economic policy like the universal basic income? Despite the enthusiasm for basic income in elite places like Silicon Valley, some of its most revealing test cases have been in what Pope Francis calls the peripheries, the parts of our world far from the centers of power, where prophetic voices frequently go unheard. What might be most perplexing about a pope embracing basic income is the Catholic Church's long-standing emphasis on the importance and dignity of work. He brought up basic income in the context of informal workers, street vendors, recyclers, street performers, small farmers, construction workers, dressmakers, the different kinds of caregivers, with the hope that basic income would acknowledge and dignify the noble, essential tasks you carry out. Real work, he thereby stressed, is not just what is acknowledged with a wage or what occurs in a registered business. If we were to put Popes Francis and Leo in dialogue, we might also identify a caveat: basic income should stand on the basis of co-ownership. To be meaningful, basic income must be made of solidarity, not crumbs.
This post received a score of 88,000, with an upvote ratio of 81%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
#Youngstradamus.
Pope confirmed young gang. As we've been saying since the start, everyone is young gang. They just may not know it yet.
#Papagang 2020.
Dope Pope 2020.
We had a UBI program going in Ontario, Canada as a study. It was going great until the OPC swooped in and cancelled it.
Could have made a great chance for broadening the experiment through this crisis, to see the broader effect it could have.
The party who cancelled it and intentionally destroyed the research are the party in power right now.
They're doing really well with the pandemic though. Of course last year they fucking slashed the budget for public health, those responsible for dealing with health emergencies like this.
I appreciate that regardless of other policy differences I have with them, they are taking appropriate actions in a time of crisis and not butting heads with the federal level either. What galls me is that this will cover up a lot of their policy shenanigans for the next election and increase their electability. I live off ODSP due to a random act of misfortune, and if they slash it down like they were discussing at one point, I will lose my apartment, my ability to afford internet or a functional computer, and will basically end any happiness I can have in life unless I beg for charity from friends and relatives. I'm an atheist, but I feel that Pope Francis has in many ways been a breath of fresh air. He's focused on environmental stewardship, on the realities of global climate change, and on the problem of inequality. I hope his example can help move us forward toward a more just and sustainable world.
Francis has been a good pope to the eyes of anyone even remotely progressive. His priorities are in the right places. Of course, the Church is full of extremely conservative folks, not just in the political sense of the word, who have basically been building a case that he is the heretic.
Hey, their last pick which they were happy with quit. They don't get to complain.
Yeah, Ratzinger created quite the debacle with his abdication of papal responsibility. The fact he is still alive, didn't keel over and die shortly after, signaling failing health, makes the whole thing even stranger.
I think he was afraid of getting dementia, but due to medical advances, not dying for another decade. Having someone who's not mentally capable leading an origination people call crazy and delusional would be pretty bad.
Imagine a leader that steps down because they're afraid they're going senile instead of leaning into it.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.